right, good morning and welcome to another beautiful day and beautiful edition of the newspaper review here on Lagoon Radio, your number one online gospel radio station powered by the Diocese of Lagos Anglican Communion. Yeah, it's like I said, today happens to be the 12th day in the month of April 2022, and the time is 27 minutes to 10 o'clock here. My name is Taiwo Adiola Shabuli, and I have with me in the studio Jennifer Jubril.
Hello, hello. It has been a long time. Very, very long time coming.
How long?
I went on sabbatical. Last week was my birthday, so I needed it.
It's needed, really. Don't forget to like and follow us on all our social media platforms on Facebook at Lagoon Radio Nigeria, on Instagram and Twitter is at Lagoonradio.Ng, and you can also download the Lagoon Radio app on Google Play Store and App Store, depending on the device that you use. Yeah, we have a lot of people here this morning, but we'll try as much as possible to cover up all.
Don't know what is doing me this morning.
I don't know. All right, we have the Blueprint, New Telegraph, This Day, Leadership, National Economy, Daily Trust, Business Day, Nigerian Tribune, This Nigeria, Al Jazeera, Business AM, Nigerian Pilot, Daybreak, Daily Independent. That's a lot. We'll try as much as possible to touch the most important stories on the front page of these papers. All right, without wasting much time, I'll be starting with the Blueprint newspaper. So on the front page, we have 90 days after Tinubu's declaration, Osinbajo joins presidential race today. And the writer to that says, meet APC governors plans 10-minute video broadcast. Vice President has served great Nigerians like Elias Ajibola, Buhari, Tinubu, Lawyers Group. Bakari also declares bid, says Nigerian stands to be great. That's on page 19. Specifies Southeast with Emefiele presidency group begs APC. That's on page 14. And every other story we have there is on page 6 of the paper. Alright, sorry about that. Welcome back from the very quick break. Alright, I'll be taking the Blueprint newspaper. The one I took was from yesterday. I apologize for that. Domestic violence, confusion over Lady Osinachi's death. And the writer to that says, lead singer hospitalized for throat cancer. No, she died of husband battery. Elder sister says. So we have two different stories contradicting each other. I also heard she died of cancer, but on the contrary, some was coming out to say she died of...
The first news that came out when she was declared dead was that she died of throat cancer. And about 30 to 45 minutes later, family and friends, in fact, close relatives said, bringing out what I would call the real story.
Because I read over the weekend, she confided in some people.
Yes.
She told them what was going on there because she wants to keep her married, because she cares so much about what people would say.
Exactly.
Then she felt, okay, let me just keep suffering for this thing. She cares so much about what people would say because she being a minister.
Yeah, there are so
God,
many clauses to
yes. Well, for whatever reason, the story is on the front page and you can continue reading on page 6. Still on page 6, Tinubu on VP's declaration. Osinbajo, not my son. Lobbies APC governors. The writer to that says, why I'm qualified to succeed Buhari, says Vice President. Asiwaju no match for Osinbajo, Aba Aji Group. Our party will go for the best, Bagudu. It's time for Igbo presidency group. All of these stories you can read on page 6. They're interesting, we're really big. Actually sensitive stories we need to take note of.
This is where I get to sing I love my country, I know go lie.
Osinbajo, not my son. Well, at this point, everybody has to stand on his or
I'm
her
telling
own.
you,
Because
catch your sub. Ah,
all right, moving on. Ex Dangote Cement GMD Joseph Makoju dies at 73. The story is on page 5 of the paper. And also on page 5, FCTA declares 150 billion naira debt owed contractors. Moving on to page 8 of the paper. Police rescue 39 kidnapped victims, arrest 10 suspects in Zamfara. Also on page 8, we have a strike demands patriotic ASU tells government. Yes, they've come out to tell you if the federal government has refused to attend to their, I won't say plea, but to their plea, to their demands,
yes.
then the schools will remain
Short.
locked. All right, so moving on to page 9. Italy donate 3 million COVID-19 vaccines to Nigeria. Thank you very much. Congratulations to you. All right, Nigerians Etios shell 7 banks, $1.7 billion oil loans. That's on page 22. Also on page 22, MTN gets license to operate payment service. I think that's all on the Blueprint newspaper.
Okay, I have with me the New Telegraph. The top of the page, CBN FG recorded 628.28 billion naira fiscal deficit in November. There's a little story on just beneath this headline, and you can continue reading on page 3 of New Telegraph. We also have 5.2 trillion naira debt. FG recovers 53.5 billion naira from MDAs and others, and that's on page 8. And we have 3 Southwest governors in dilemma. Yoruba elders may intervene. The writer said that. Okay. Before I take the writers, I have no son grown enough to declare, says Tinubu, and we have a no comment here. Afenifere zone should concede power to Southeast Yoruba group. VP a pawn of some game masters, says Lagos APC. Osibajo's ambition conspiracy designed to split Yoruba votes. Yakasai presidency keeps mum as VP plans to deploy experience insights to serve Nigerians. You can read all of these stories on pages 2, pages 4, and pages 30 of the New Telegraph. And we have on the front page images of Bola Ahmed Tinubu flagged by some other APC governors, including the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. That was right after a short meeting they had as regards the 2023 presidential election. And we have another story, strike. We are not opposed to renegotiation, says FG, as ASU insists on renegotiated 2009 agreement. JAM releases 2022 mock UTME results. So you can read that on page 8 and page 27. We have beneath the paper, FG should query customs, immigration, says CAN, IDFP, and others. And right to that says, one insecurity biggest threat to 2023 election, says new electoral act won't guarantee free and fair polls. We also have appeal court stops AGF and others from frustrating appeal against judgment on new electoral act. So you can read that on page 3 and page 8. And the last story on the front cover is study links ED medications to vision damage. That's for set and one bottle on their high. Page 26.
Look at which talking. All right, moving on to this day newspaper. I'm going to take something new here. Lalong attending political meetings as terrorists maul down 80, abduct 17 Plateau communities. And the writer to this says 78 given mass burial amid fear of further attacks. Defend yourselves. Equa urges Nigerians. All of the story you can read on page 11. And also, marginal fields, upstream commissions targets June for drilling, blames difficult model adopted by DPR for slow progress. $3 billion oil theft in Nigeria. In Niger Delta, criminal horrific, says Komolafe. Insists security of oil assets outside NUPRC's mandate. All of these on page 11 as well. All right, moving on, we have the story of Tinubu and Osinbajo. Of course, is covering virtually all
newspapers.
all the papers. Saraki, PDP consensus candidates will oust APC from power. Okay, so I read something uh, related to that this morning, saying support groups loyal to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo on the one hand, and those backing the All Progressive Congress national leader Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the other hand, on Monday engaged in a war of words on social media, television, and radio following Osinbajo's formal declaration of his presidential ambition, and of course, Rauf Aregbesola, that's Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, might support the vice president ambition, and of course, everybody is entitled to
their opinion.
Whomever you want to support, yes. So that's that on that. I think we'll just move on.
Okay, let me take the national economy. We have FG uncovers 5.2 trillion naira debt hidden by MDAs, and that's on page 4. We have Nigerians still paying more for cement and rice despite protectionist policies. And the writer to that says prices of cement, rice increased by over 100% after federal government's ban on importation to encourage local production consumption. I wonder why it's that high, but you can read on, there's a little story there, and you can continue reading on page 4. And we have a very beautiful image of some really amazing people. The founder of Eco Innovation Center, some other people in the agricultural and the production sector, all on the front page. If you want to know what the occasion is, you can grab a copy of the national economy. And beneath the paper, we have Nigerians besiege NIMSI registration centers over bird lines, and that's on page 5. We have also on page 5, unblocking SIM cards require SIM linkage, says NCC. MTN secure CBN's final approval for Momo Payment Service Bank, still on page 5. And that on page 4, we have BUA Foods PLC records 69.77 billion naira profit in 2021. That's all on the national economy.
All right, moving on to leadership. We can see at the top of the paper, Daura Transport Varsity to be ready in September, says Amici. That's on page 9. We've talked about the Plato attacks. Moving on, Mama Sam goes home today amid litany of encomiums tributes. That's on page 7. Well, this happens to be the mother of the founding chairman of leadership group, the late Mrs. Eunice. They began the whole ceremony yesterday with a service of song. Yeah. So she goes home today. Moving on, MTN secures CBN's final approval for Momo Payment Service Bank. That's on page 25. Taking us to page 9. Kaduna viral video hurdles mistaken for bandits, says police. Tariff Tribunal asks DSTV, GoTV to maintain status quo. That's on page 21 of the paper. All right, moving on. That's all on the leadership for now.
Okay, the Nigerian Tribune. In fact, basically all the papers today carry the same story.
So we're just going to touch the new ones and every other.
So Nigerian Tribune, we have Tinubu meets APC governor, says, I have no son old enough to declare. ASU meets with federal government, says no resumption until demands are met, and that's on page 28. We have on page 26, terrorists kill over 80, adopt 70, burn several houses in Plateau. The writer to that says, Governor condemns attack, victims given mass burial. Yeah, that's on page 26. We have on page 6, Nigeria slashes import duty on used new vehicles to 20%. On page 8, we have Obafemi Awolowo Foundation at 30 already. Lessons we have learned, says Awolowo Dosumu. And the writer to that says, explains why office holders aren't considered for award. Unemployment, poverty, rate high, says Adelusi Adelui. SMEs, surest path to development, says Tony Elumelu Foundation. And foundations are engines of progress, says Bitaya. There's a communique for the anniversary webinar, and that's on page 6. We also have APC local government chairman killed in Osun State, and that's on page 27. We have Kaduna train attack. Families give federal government 72 hours to ensure release of victims. Wow. And that's on page 4. On page 27 still, we have pregnant lady and 9 others feared dead as fire got jetty in Port Harcourt. And on page 25, gun battle at political gathering in Ibadan. And the last story on the front page is on page 7. Federal government uncovers 5.2 trillion naira. MDA's debt recovers 53.5 billion naira.
I think we have something much different on Daily Trust paper. Insecurity, there may no be Nigeria in 2023, says Sultan. That's on page 2, right? Herders dehumanized by soldiers in Kaduna, not bandit. Police and community, that's on page 1. You want to say something on the insecurity, Jennifer? I wanted to say something.
I just, the first thing that came to my mind was Elegidi gone. Like,
I'm actually not just hearing this for the first time.
I've been hearing it, but it's becoming scary, rather scary.
Is it not kind of looking like it's gonna come to pass? That we are not gonna stop praying. We are not going to stop praying.
We're not going to stop praying, and would try as much as
we
possible
just have to be realistic.
To be realistic, yes, exactly.
We have to be realistic,
and
because the way this whole thing is going.
Yeah, and when we're talking about security, I think we talked about this earlier in the year. You don't leave security for just the government and the security agencies alone. As a person, you have to be security conscious. You're going to try as much as possible to lock your doors. Most people, out of tiredness, we understand the country is stressful, but you just have to make it. Just know that I just locked door. You have to check, even when you know your head is telling you that you've locked it, but just check. Even
you're walking on the road.
Yeah,
you're not safe.
Especially people that have their earplugs on and they're walking on the road, listening to extremely loud music. We're driving past Marina yesterday, and this guy, he just has his earplugs on, and like you could see very obviously that he was distracted. He wanted to cross. He, instead of him seeing road that he pass, uncle pass when, and we were just looking at him. So yes, we know that sometimes you're trying these things, you're doing these things to relieve stress, but we shouldn't overdo them. You might get knocked and then you blame it on the driver when you're we're not paying attention. So there are so many things, so many ways that we can actually work together with the security agencies to create a better Nigeria. But then just have to be realistic with ourselves that with the rate at which things are going,
it might sound funny, but it's not really.
It's not.
You have to take caution, especially starting from us. Well, the major story there says 2023 President Southwest weighs options on Tinubu and Osinbajo. And the writer to that says, governors divided as Afenifere keeps mum. Why I want to succeed Buhari. You want to find out why this has been said by Osinbajo. I have no son grown enough to vie for presidency, Tinubu. All of this you can read on page 4. 30 tertiary institutions compete for 950 million naira CBN grant. Hey. Alright, then so page 10. 2023 PDP presidential aspirants swell to 15 kilo day. Why are you this much? You want to find out why? You check out page 14. Rapist weeps as court sentences him to death. Wait, why are you crying?
Why are you crying? When the girl was crying, did you cry?
When the girl was pleading, did you stop? I feel pity for these people, but they don't really need any pity.
Don't worry. Off air, I will give you one gist of what they did to one rapist. Oh, really?
All right. As Simu would say, Simu, she would say, you need to castrate this. When you start castrating them, then when you get a scapegoat, we use one of them as a scapegoat.
Roast the goat well.
And you will see whether it will not stop.
Do you get?
The thing has actually reduced.
It has reduced. Last year, rape stories were just
so much.
In fact, everywhere.
Molestations, assaults.
Oh, no.
So
it was
much.
Unbearable.
But we thank God. That story is on page 12. Over 100 victims of Plato attacks given mass burial. Many houses razed, telecom masts destroyed. That's on page 5, and that's all on the front page of the Daily Trust paper.
Okay, something different on this Nigeria. We have bigger food crisis looms in Nigeria, other African countries, says a report, and you can read on page 15. Wike vows to tackle insecurity, restore battered economy, and the rather to that says takes consultation to Borno and Yobe, and that's on page 13. The Governor Wike. Okay, so we still have, as we've been reading, the presidential declaration battle and race between Tinubu and Osibajo as they've split the southwest. So basically, you have half of the Yorubas going for Tinubu and half for Osibajo.
Of course, everybody can be on your side.
You can be on your side.
It's not left for the citizens.
Now, this is going to be real politics.
Yes,
we'll get to find out
left.
during the primaries.
Yes. Some people are even saying he's not even going to pass that primary.
Oh, well.
So who are we to judge? We're going to find out when the time comes.
When the time comes. We are supposed to be the judge and jury for the primaries because it is actually our vote.
But in my own opinion, I feel
it is what it is.
Tinubu should just sit back, relax, and be
enjoy.
an ex-officio or someone to run to when you need an advice.
Just become daddy one.
Yes, on how to run on leadership skills, basically. I mean, this is time for him to rest. He's old enough.
It was the fact that he just said, "I have no son old enough to." When I got that, I was like, "Wow, this is we're actually about to experience politics."
Because it's really funny how they think the presidential seat it's a child's play.
It's not.
And where you can just share where you can just pass the baiting to one another as you like.
Just like well,
in my own opinion, I don't know.
I don't know about other people, but
I just feel it's not a child's play, and they think Nigeria is a joke as a whole. You can't just keep passing and passing here and there.
Yeah. Oh well. Still on that, Osibajo says that he's in the race to offer his services to the nation. So we have on page 15, AMCON incurs 22.19 billion naira debt over Nigerian Eagle. They say super Eagle that cannot qualify for World Cup. Okay, we have the Plateau killings, 78 victims buried. We have PDP Northern aspirants visit Adamawa and preach consensus, and that's on page 16. So that's it for this Nigeria. Basically, all the stories are just going around the presidential election.
Yeah, of course, on Al Jazeera, pension remittance, only Benue, Edo, Kaduna, Lagos complied fully in 2021, says PENCOM. Only 4 states fully remitted their workers' pension contributions at December 2021, in line with the mandate of the Contributory Pension Scheme, CPS, according to the 2021 fourth quarter report released by the National Pension Committee, PENCOM. You can continue reading on page 29. Moving on to the main story, Amechi, Osinbajo, Tinubu lobby cabal. Buhari may settle for a dark horse, says source. That's on page 8. And on that, I have a comment here on Tinubu, the presidential seat and all that. This is coming from Yusuf Olayiwola. He's saying it's it's that easy. It's presidential seat to them. Mm-hmm. And he's saying, though he supports the PYO, I don't know what that means. Yeah, so, and he's also saying it's king time. It's long time inspiration for Tinubu. Yes, it's a long time inspiration for Tinubu.
Yes, we know
to
that.
him, it's an ambition, but I feel at some point, you just have to sit and relax and observe. Don't you think so?
I actually think so. I'm of that opinion. It's not, I think, as much as there's this thing, you're not successful until you have actually made someone a success. That's what I feel. It doesn't have to attain that position as much as it is a long-term goal. Knowing fully that some other persons will do better than himself.
Is that it in mind? If he really wanted to go for it, then he should have gone in time of in place of Buhari.
Well, the thing is, in this case, I'm of the opinion that he just sits back and give his support to the younger generation. We're advocating for younger people taking the seat. I mean, and I thought they were talking about 70 when it comes to retirement and presidential.
And this Baba is already 70. I said something this morning, but I'm not going to say it on air.
Don't say it again.
I'm not going to say it on
Okay.
All right, because of our time, I just have to stop here, but I'll take one or two. No plan to shift 2023 polls over insecurity, says INEC. That's on page 2. All right. Defection. Easter vacation stalls judgment in suit seeking Dogara's removal. That's on page 4. And of course, we've got so many stories and papers we haven't taught, but basically all the papers carries majority of the same news.
Yeah.
So Maurice is also saying Professor Yemi Oshibajo, PYO, I don't know, but he's supporting PYO. Oh, that's
that's actually PY. I think, okay, so quickly, I just saw something before we call it a wrap. Experts warn microeconomic instability looms for Nigeria. That's a big one. That's on Business AM. They say if revenue fails to match rising debt cost, total borrowing now 7 trillion naira, DMO okays more. Analysts project 45 trillion naira public debt for 2022. Federal debt service to revenue almost 1 trillion naira. And we have petrol subsidy fiscal cliff on page 5. We have firm sweats shareholders funds on page 11. That's with MTN Nigeria. Nigerian breweries great dividend. That's when you're talking about company and business on page 22. So they're trying to tell us that people are buying more drink. Mikano Gilly game changer. That's on generation of power. That's on page 29. Commodities and agriculture. Nigeria's forgotten solid minerals. This is actually a great reminder. This country is rich, but they are forgotten. And that's on page 24. I think that's all I'll take on Business AM.
All right, thank you very much for being a part of this show. Thank you very much, Olaiwola, for being part of the conversation. All right, tomorrow is going to be another edition of the newspaper review from 9:30 to 10 a.m. here, live and direct. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I remain Taiwa Jola Shabiligbe, and still with me in the studio,
Jennifer Jibril.
Don't forget to like and follow us on Facebook at Lagoon Radio Nigeria, on Instagram and Twitter at Lagoonradio.Ng. It's a good morning from both of us.
Hi.
This is Lagoon Radio.